Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for the Zhan Kossobutskiy vs Onoriode Ehwairame fight, which was in Germany, and this was a fourth round stoppage, dominance from start to finish from the unbeaten Kazakh Zhan Kossobutskiy, who goes to 15-0 following a very confident and impressive performance. Bearing in mind, Onoriode Ehwairame had a significant height and reach advantage over the smaller Kazakh, who's southpaw, 6'3", but that really was not put to use. Just pouring jabs in that first round and pretty much throughout the fight allowed Zhan Kossobutskiy to get inside pretty easily. And I've got to say, the first round, it was like some sort of showcase. Kossobutskiy basically showed all his wares in that first round. He was dominant from the outset, really strong jab. He was getting in there with some nice body shots. There was some counters that were landing, hooks to the body, hooks to the head with both hands. And you could see that Onoriode Ehwairame was feeling that power. And from that point, I sort of thought, yep, this looks like it is only going to go one way. And it kind of ended up being a procession in the next few rounds. And in round 3, Zhan Kossobutskiy eventually made Ehwairame hit the deck, and he was hurt with a couple of shots, a series of hooks, and goes down. And it was probably quite lucky for him that it was late in the round, because he beats the count, and then basically the end of the round occurs. So he was lucky to get out of that one. But from round 4, big right hand floors Ehwairame, and the towel actually came in, but the ref ignored it, kept counting, but it was all over. Could not answer the count, could not beat it. And you have a very impressive performance by Zhan Kossobutskiy, who showed a lot of really nice things in there. And remembering that Onoriode Ehwairame, very big puncher, and he was able to, on the defensive standpoint, just completely nullify him. One of the most impressive things about this performance was how well he managed the range. The bigger, man with the longer reach just falling short or just unable to find the target on multiple occasions. And then often, Kossobutskiy was making a miss, and then he would make him pay. And pretty much he was getting, after about, the first 10 seconds of the fight, anything that he wanted to. He was able to close the distance when he wanted to, or he was able to pot shot from the outside. So we saw a lot of sort of strings to Kossobutskiy's bow in this one, and it reaffirms for me that he is one of the best prospects in the heavyweight division that is actually flying way under the radar at this point. And primarily that's because he's been fighting, out of sight, out of mind. He's not getting the same sort of attention, but these sorts of performances will help. But what will also help is fighting a better level of opposition and stepping it up. And this opponent, this was actually, a decent fight. I had said in lead-up videos that I expected Kossobutskiy was going to win this one, and he was going to look good in doing so. And so he did, probably even a little bit better than I thought he would actually perform. But for me, it shows that, he's oozing with talent. And there were a couple of other really good things to like about it. The way he was able to counterpunch, but also the accuracy. I mean, he just couldn't seem to miss. And some of that was down to, Onoriode Ehwairame's defense. But overall, very impressive performance from the offensive standpoint, but also able to get out of the way of the big right hand, which sort of seemed to be the only punch that was really of any threat or note coming at him. But he was able to negate that with ease. And I think it would have been better if the Nigerian actually had a really snappy jab, try to catch him coming in, make him think about coming in, but he just wasn't able to do that. And heading into this, Onoriode Ehwairame, 33 years old, 6'7", he had a record of 18-1. There are some that believe, this guy could maybe sort of compete at a higher level, maybe top 50, something like this. On BoxRec, he'd been rated at 114 in the world, but he was made to look pretty shoddy by the Kazakh, who advanced to 15-0. And I guess the question now, what next for Zhan Kossobutskiy? Well, hopefully a more meaningful fight. This wasn't terrible by any stretch, but I think it needs to be onward and upward from here. And his promoters, Universum, need to actually stick a little bit of, their hand in their pocket to get a little bit more money out for better opponents. So, I mean, I can sort of, as a start to 2021, given circumstances around the pandemic, etc., you can accept this and go, okay, this was a certain level. He was expected to maybe throw one or two things at Kossobuskiy, make him think. Ultimately, though, it just wasn't the sort of talent and tier to give anything to Zhan Kossobuskiy effectively, apart from facing a taller guy. But he looked good in doing so. But you need someone who actually has a better jab, is able to do something on the offensive end, but also has some defensive skills too, because Ehwairame just couldn't get out of the way of those punches. Everything was basically landed on cue when he wanted it to. Hopefully they can get him a bigger and better name. I mean, there are some guys in Europe you can sort of think of that they could actually sort of pair him with. I wouldn't mind seeing him versus an Ali Aaron Demiration. There's some guys in the sort of top 30 to top 50 where he probably needs to be targeting next. I mean, a Christian Hammer at this stage, that would be a really good fight, and we would also be able to get a comparison with a Tony Yoka. There's probably, a whole bunch of names, a whole host of names that they could get, but some of it will come down to the dollar value too. Remembering that this was for a vacant WBA title, so he will probably get a WBA ranking now, and that's part of the appeal for Onoriode Ehwairame actually taking this fight, because you could argue for him this was a crossroads fight, and if he lost, it's hard to know where he would go from here to advance his career. But Kossobuskiy making every post a winner at this point. What did you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.